Hi, everybody. Welcome along to this edition of SportsView on NerdMedia.tv. Press the red button on the right hand side to subscribe to our channel. It'd be very much appreciated. It's been a few weeks. I think a few of us have been. One of us, Joe, is in. Good evening, Joe, and welcome.
Good evening, Pat. Thank you.
And Joe is in Mexico as we're speaking. And I'm in Bonjour. I'm in the south of France. Derwynne is coming in soon. I think Derwynne is just over in Wembley. Anyway, we'll see where he is when he comes in. But we have the usual suspects on the show. We have soccer and I will catch up a bit in soccer and golf and Formula One and all of that. But the Euros, Euro 2024 is upon us. And I think we're nearly halfway through as far as I can make out. But Joe, well, as we speak tonight, it's the Monday, the 24th of June, 2024. Tonight we have Croatia versus Italy and Albania versus Spain. Spain are already through to the last 16. Spain and Portugal and Germany. Spain and Portugal have impressed me, Joe, I must say.
Yes, both of those teams have looked impressive. They have. I thought Germany were going to be a power, but I think that was more down to Scotland being poor and having a bad head. And I just watched the Scotland-Switzerland match, and I mean it was a decent game, but it was very sloppy. Both teams going, very high press, so there was a lot of mistakes in it. But it was a good football match to watch.
I saw Scotland and Hungary last night, and I must say it was for the second most important football tournament in the world after the World Cup. The refereeing in that match was absolutely deplorable, to say the least of it. And Scotland were, in my view, denied a stone cold penalty. There's no other way of describing it, Joe. I know what you thought of it.
Yeah, I didn't see that one because most people down here are watching the Copa America.
Yeah.
Same time, so there's a bit of a. Although, like today's match, the Spain match is on at 1:00. So
yeah.
But while I was up in Tacoma, I was watching them all. So it was. But yeah, it's. I've been reading about this Scotland thing, and that seems to be like everybody's opinion that the referee was horrible. And to be honest, I'm watching stuff. I mean, I watched the Swiss and Swiss German game, and Antonio Rudiger. I mean, the guy is 6'4" tall, or how big he is. It's a huge man. He goes around and he kicks the bejesus out of everybody, and then a guy makes, in my opinion, a soft tackle on him, and he goes down like he's felled. He goes down like a tree that's been felled, and gets the guy a yellow card. Yeah, he just goes through people continuously, and nothing happens to him. So I agree with you. Some of the refereeing and some of the decisions have not been great.
No, they have been very, very poor, and it's disappointing to me. England. Do you see any of the English matches?
Yes, I did.
I mean, obviously, the English team are on a hiding to nothing when it comes to the coverage of it. Anyway, we know that, George. That we said that before the tournament ever began.
Yeah,
but the manager has to take responsibility for the teams he put out in the field.
Oh, absolutely.
And in my opinion, there's no way Harry Kane deserves his place on the team.
Well, I mean, but this has been, the knock on Harry Kane for. I mean, the last Euros he was the same way against Italy in the final. He ended up playing more on the halfway line than he did playing up front.
I know.
And so, I mean, they've got, a guy his size, you'd expect him to be a target. I mean, I watched it again. I'm going back to the Germany match, and Kai Havertz put himself around like, I mean, a real centre forward does. He was challenging for every ball, making it very difficult for the defenders. And it doesn't seem to be Harry Kane does that.
Well, I don't know myself. I'm not the manager of the team, but if it's frustrating for me as a non-English person to watch their English team, and they're very very talented players, a lot of them, but really, I mean, Trent Alexander doesn't play midfield for his club.
No, he doesn't. But and here's the thing that also uh, gets me. People are crying out for him to be playing in midfield, like your man at Arsenal did, and did a little bit for Man City. The Ukrainian left back, and
Yeah.
uh, they want Alexander Arnold to come in and step in and do the same thing. And it's an experiment, and if it doesn't work, then okay, you got to give it credit for giving it a go. And if it's not working, I mean, we talked about this. The 1966 World Cup winning team, the only team that's won anything, didn't start off the tournament well.
No.
And it wasn't the same team that played in the final that played in the first match.
No.
So, you have to do some experimenting with it. And, you know, where else can you do it and try it out other than uh, in the prelim games? And like I said, hopefully you get through to the next round. You've got enough going that it gets you through. Um, but you know, they still have terrific players, but for some reason they are being stopped from being creative. That stuff that they're able to do at their clubs.
But isn't that down to the tactical? Isn't that down to the tactics of the manager, how he wants them to play the team?
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Yeah.
is. And then, I mean, ultimately, he carries the can for it, no matter what. Um, so, we'll see what happens with it. But I think it's still a bit early to be, you know. And we talked about this before. The expectations of the English soccer community are huge. You know, they've only won one World Cup. They've never won anything else, and they won that World Cup on the home ground. So when they talk about, oh, it's coming home, it's doing this, it's doing that, English soccer has been left behind by so many other countries around the world in
Yeah.
terms of skill and in terms of tactics.
Yeah.
And it really needs to you know to it needs to get back on track somehow, and I don't know how that's going to be. But the expectations of people need to be lowered. That
Well,
you cannot just go, oh, jump on the bandwagon for the first week. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then after the first game, you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
true.
That
Now,
it doesn't seem
of
right.
course, if England beat Slovenia tomorrow night, they're top of the group
Yeah.
and straight through, and so be it. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Maybe there's too much analysis of them in the group stages. The whole purpose of the group is to get out and get into the next round.
Well, I mean, we talked about this on the last show.
Yeah,
You are not going to win the Euros in the first game,
no,
but we saw with Scotland, you can certainly lose it and lose any chance you have of qualifying by giving up 5 goals in a game.
yeah.
You know, so it's all about managing the tournament and getting yourself through, and then negotiating the games after that. And
And I was looking at the tables. Even if Slovenia beat England tomorrow night, and Denmark beat Serbia, England will still go through as the highest placed third team in a group.
right, I
So
mean, it makes the job that much more difficult, of
it
course,
does. It
than it
does.
back. But they're still in with a great chance. And let's be very honest, Denmark are not. Serbia are a good team.
Yeah.
So they're going to challenge him, and they're
Yeah.
not going to go. They're not going to be lying down for this.
No.
So it's a very very tough game. Very tough game.
I thought the team that impressed me the most or Spain. I thought they're terrific altogether.
Yes, yeah,
I think they
yeah.
play a very, very high energy, skillful game of soccer.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they do. And I mean, they've got just talented players, uh, and it just seems, and I don't know why it is, but why it can't be, but when you've got good, talented offensive players, you know, get out their way and let them do their job. Do not fill their heads with, I mean, like England after they go one up against Serbia, right? They
Yeah,
or against Denmark, all of a sudden they're dropping back.
yeah,
And I think they did the same in the Serbia game. It's like one goal at this level is not always going to win you a game. So
no,
you need to be keeping, and the more you give away, the more obviously you're letting the other team into the game. And of course, we've all heard from the time we were kids, best form of defense is offense. If you keep the other team in their half, it's very difficult for them to score. So
absolutely. Yeah. And another team I love watching is Portugal, believe it or not. I think they're lovely players, you know?
yes, they are. They're very talented, and everyone gets focused on Cristiano Ronaldo, and then you take into account all the other guys that they've got on the field, and then you
Yes,
look at their bench. I mean, their bench is loaded with talented players. That any one of them could be a game winner.
now, I watched the French and Netherlands game. It was abysmal. It was a shocking game of soccer.
I
Absolutely shocking.
out of out of all the teams, I think Spain have been the most, or not Spain, sorry, France have been the most disappointing to me.
They're
I thought
shocking.
I thought they'd have more
I,
going
I,
for it.
I did too. I thought, and I just was so disappointed. The quality of the match, the level of the match was very poor altogether.
Yeah, yeah.
For and well, I don't know what's wrong in the camp, but I don't know how to explain it. I mean, on French television here where we are, it's all Mbappe, 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 Mbappe.
Yeah.
Mbappe is one player. That's all. He's one player. Albeit he's a good player. He's a world class player, but he's only one player. You know.
It's only one player, but you've got Griezmann, you've got Dembele, you've got
Yeah.
these guys, Rabiot, you've got So it's not
I,
like
I think I think Griezmann and Mbele. I think that they're. I think they're not serious anymore. Myself.
yeah,
I think they're gonna past it. I don't know.
interesting, interesting. I mean, they don't seem to be as effective as they were before. But that Dutch game may just have been one of those situations where neither team wanted to lose.
That's true. That's what it
And
looked like on the
yeah,
pitch.
yeah, and uh, this one week, if we can get out of here, draw, then the other
Exactly.
the ones that take care of the business for us. And
I mean, there is great potential in the French team. Anyway, I
yes,
think if they progress to the second round, which should, I think there is still and the Dutch team as well. They're a decent team. The Dutch team.
good.
They're-
And forget that. The Dutch are very well organized. They've
Yeah.
got very good defenders, good goalkeeping. They've got good. They're very solid, and they're a team that you would hope to avoid as much as possible in this tournament
Yeah.
because they can they can be a real banana skin for you.
Now, before the tournament began, I backed Spain and England to win. So there you are now. Anyway,
Right. Well, I mean, again, you know, we've talked about this before as well, though, because now once the round robin finishes here during the week or at the weekend, I'm not sure when it exactly finishes, but um, when you get to the
knock
rubber hits the road
you
in the
straight
knockout
knockout.
stage,
Yeah.
once you're in the knockout stage, all of a sudden it becomes a whole different kettle of fish.
Absolutely. There's no tactics of of playing for a draw or anything. You're out to
But
win it, you know.
no, there isn't, because it's going to be sorted on the night, and we've all seen what happens with penalty shootouts. Even the best players can have a nervous moment, and it all goes wrong.
True, very true. Sports Use the program here on TV, and with Joe Wars and myself here on Monday the 24th. And press the red button on the right hand side to subscribe to our channel. It's very much appreciated. And you can send us an email, info@TV, and we very much appreciate it. So we'll just move on to golf for a minute, Joe. And the women's major, the women's PGA golf tournament was held over the weekend. And I think it was up in Seattle, as far as I know, you know. Anyway, the the South Korean Amy Yang won it at -7. She's 34 years of age. So it's her first major win. It's fantastic. She won $1.56 million for her weekend. So well done to Amy. Leona Maguire from Ireland was finished at +4. She had a disastrous last round. Only for that, she was well in contention for the first 2 days, but I'm afraid she slipped away to 24th. So she picked up $95,000 anyway. So it
Nice.
paid for it.
Now, was that played at the Holly?
I think so. I'm not too sure. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, of course. Yeah.
A very, very nice golf course.
Yeah.
Very challenging.
So I saw some of it. Now, in the Travelers Championship, which is a big tournament outside of the majors in America, Scotty Scheffler won in a playoff. Scotty Scheffler is winning all the tournaments except the one that matters. And he finished at -22. I know Derwynne isn't here with us now, our golfing expert, but I was looking at some of the scoring in that, Joe. There was a fella shot at 59.
Yeah.
Even Shane Lowry shot at 62. A few more people shot 62s. And I'm just wondering what kind of a golf course is it, you know?
And that's the thing with it. I mean, like you said, and Derwynne has said before, you know,
yeah.
some of the golf courses here are. I don't know where the Travelers was played. I don't know what course it was on, but
Yeah.
I mean, some of these courses are just like manicured. There's no trouble in them other than bunkers and what have you. And
Yeah.
you know, all these guys are so good that they can make their way around those things. It's it's the links courses that are the tough ones for these guys that when they have to play.
Absolutely. And well, Scheffler won it at -22. And there was 4 of them at -22 and a playoff, and Scheffler won the playoff. And he won $3.6 million. But Shane Lowry finished the tournament at -17, which is a decent number, you know, 17 under, and he was only ninth overall, you know. And Seamus Power is 12 under, and he finished 20th place. But really, the scoring was off the charts altogether in the Travellers. Over here in the DP World Tour, the KLM Open in Holland, in the Dutch Open, sponsored by KLM. The Italian won that at -11. Magliozzi in another playoff. And Tommy Fleetwood and Matt Fitzpatrick have been picked by England to represent them at the Olympics up the road here in Paris, which will come up at the end of July. So there you go. Some of the prices of the tickets are off the charts, Joe. I must tell you that.
How much are they looking for them?
Well, for 2 of us to go, to be nearly $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we might go and get our picture taken in front of the stadium and go home.
Yeah.
But I was there. Fleetwood and Fitzpatrick. Live golfer on over the weekend as well, and Tyrrell Hatton won his first Live Golf tournament, -19. And it was nice to see Tyrrell Hatton winning. DeChambeau, who recently won the PGA, he finished in third place at -12. I mean, DeChambeau won while we were off here last week, and he won the PGA. Bryson DeChambeau, very popular golfer, You know, I was reading about him. He didn't come from money, as I say. He didn't come from wealth. You know, a working class hero, so to speak. And I don't even like saying that, but you know, he had to earn everything he got. That's what I want to say. You know,
Yeah,
and it comes out in his personality as well. You know, the way he behaves himself. You know,
yeah,
so you could see by his upbringing as well. But anyway, he's making waves, and that was the golf. But getting back to the pricing of the tickets, I mean, really, some of the tickets we were looking at minority sports in the Olympics, things like rhythmic gymnastics. Now, Joe, that you wouldn't have long queues around the block for that. You know, with all due respect to the people participating, and even tickets for those events are way off the Richter scale. I don't know who they think is going to go to the Olympics, or who they do expect to go, you know, as
right.
spectators.
Yeah,
Spectators, you know. And if they're not going, if they don't want ordinary spectators, they should say so at the beginning of the Olympics. We don't need ordinary spectators. Our sponsors have given us enough money, so we're going to allocate 30,000 tickets free every day, first come, first serve. Couldn't they do something like that?
well, you might imagine they could do something like that, especially now that they're giving out prize money for.
Yeah,
uh
but it's all paid for already.
yeah,
Everything is paid for.
yeah,
They have thousands and thousands upon thousands of sponsors, so they could do something like that for the place where it's being held, you know.
yeah.
And not because we're trying to get tickets or anything, but it just struck me, you know. And really, I don't know. I don't know what the world is coming to at all. Do they want anybody to see the Olympics?
It seems kind of counterproductive to what you know what the whole thing is about, because you want people, you want fans to be in the
You do.
stands, whatever event it is, because
You
these are performers. They're whether they're soccer players, whether they're um, uh, whether they're dancers or whatever it is that the event that th're in. They want people there to appreciate their efforts. And why not have, like you're saying, why not have a full stadium at reduced prices so that people can actually come and people get to experience an Olympic event,
yeah.
you know. But whereas, like you're saying now, you know, you won't go to them because the cost is prohibitive to do it.
It's just it's a way too expensive altogether, you know. I just couldn't. It's not a question of meanness, it's a question of proportionality to these
Yes,
things, you know. And
yeah,
I mean, I didn't come across any tickets yet for the boxing and the swimming. They'll be on first, more or less early in the games, like. So they're ones I'd like to get to. God only knows how much tickets will be for them anyway, you know. We
well,
didn't get any information on them yet, on those
yeah,
prices yet.
but I mean that's the thing with it. How do you create uh, fans for a sport if people are not able to experience it in the here and now? I remember when I was a kid growing up, going up to the markets field, and adults would lift you over the stile,
Yeah, yeah,
and they'd lift you over, and
yeah.
without that, my love for the game may not have taken me to wanting to be a professional player, because I was a Pike Rovers man, I was a Pike Rovers fan,
Yeah,
and that's all I ever thought about. And then all of a sudden you learn that there's another step up, and
it
it's
is.
Limerick, and the crowds are bigger there. And at half time, after half time, the gate was open, and anybody that wanted to come in could come in. You know, so
And
it's like you know,
it was the same in the early days of the Gaelic games, you know, all the young
yeah,
lads. Well, in the very early days, we were all put into the sideline, you know, out of the way, put into the sideline and sit down there and be quiet, you know.
yeah,
I noticed a different time and all of that, but none of us wound up dead or anything like that, you know.
right.
And I mean, we saw our heroes playing hurling and football, and you cannot buy that, you know.
Can't. No, you
No.
can't. And that very first experience is the one that
Yeah.
probably nails you forever. I mean, I brought my high school soccer team back to Ireland 3 or 4 times. And each time we were fortunate enough to get out to the Gaelic grounds to see Limerick playing
Yeah.
there. I think they played Clare a couple of times. Maybe it was Clare they played all the times that we were
Yeah.
there. And our boys all got in for free. All of them were in for free. And then at halftime, they're out on the pitch and they're having some of the other lads from the other teams, the subs and what have you, are showing them how to do things out there.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Talk about that to this day.
Yeah.
That experience. You wouldn't catch that at a Seahawks game or
Oh,
a basketball game
no,
or a
no.
college game. You're as far away from it as possible. So,
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
that's how you create fans, and that's how you create a love for the game. So
And as you're talking about hurling, I know have you been following it or not? Over the weekend, the hurling is down to the last four. So there's two semi-finals: is Cork versus Limerick and Clare versus Kilkenny. They're the two
wow,
semi-finals. They're the two
three,
semi-finals.
three months teams out of four in the semi-final.
Huh?
3 months to teams out of four in the
Yeah,
semi-finals.
yeah. So
And
there'll be
that's going to be really interesting because Cork have already beaten Limerick, right?
they have on a good day. I say on a
Yeah.
good day for Cork, but
Oh,
Limerick are going for five in a row, which is unprecedented
yeah,
and historic as well.
yeah,
And even the great hurling team is going way back to the 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, failed to do it.
yeah.
Um, Cork won 76, 77, and 78. They were going for four in a row in 79, but Galway beat them. So, I mean, Kilkenny did four in a row. They did two, three, four, six, seven, eight, and nine, I think. 206, 207, 208, 209. They did four in a row. Cork did four in a row in the 40s, 41, 2, 3, and 4. But they never did five. So this would be absolutely astonishing in the modern era now.
Yeah. It's going to be really interesting because, I mean, you're looking at the three teams that are left outside of Limerick. Cork have already beaten Limerick once. Kilkenny beat Limerick once, didn't they?
Then
Early in the season. And then Clare, who have been a bugbear for Limerick all through this. And if it hadn't been for a Limerick team as good as it is, Clare might have won a couple of All Irelands in
they
that
would
time.
have, yeah, because they drew with him, if you know, at one time, and
Yeah,
Limerick beat him in extra time, and they beat him by a point another time. So last year, Limerick only beat Cork by a point in the Gaelic grounds. People
right.
forget. And if Cork had drawn with him that day, they wouldn't have, they'd have been out of the championship. But anyway, this is all ifs and buts. So they're still there, Limerick, and it's on the weekend after next, the 6th and 7th of July, I think, or something like that. So Saturday and Sunday. The Sunday match is the Cork Limerick match at 4 o'clock on Sunday, and the Saturday game is Clare and Kilkenny. So all to look forward to. And now, Patrick Harrington during the week, Joe, I know he was inducted into the Golfing Hall of Fame. And Patrick, in my opinion, has been, no doubt about it, our best golfer we produced in Ireland. And hey, Derwynne,
Is he here? Hey,
Hey,
is
look at it. Like something out of The Godfather, isn't
bonjour, bonjour, Derwynne.
it? Hi,
hola,
Joe. Pat.
hola from sunny Mexico.
You're in Mexico.
Yeah, I am.
I'm only in sunny Ascot. Sorry, boys. I let you down, really.
I know we were just before you came in there, I was just happy on that. Since we were on here last, Patrick Harrington has been inducted into the Golfing Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, he's been the best Irish golfer in my lifetime from Ireland. That's my opinion. And he won again over the weekend.
Yeah.
He won on the Seniors Tour. He beat Mike Weir, finished shot behind him, the left-hander from Canada. Pádraig finished at -15. He won $315,000 for his 3 rounds. Fair play to him. His two sons are with him and all of that. But Derwynne, we were remarking it, myself and Joe were talking about it, although we couldn't talk much about it because we know very little about golf. But Scotty Scheffler won again, as you know, over the weekend. He won the Travelers Championship in the playoff, -22. But there was loads of people who shot at 62 and one fellow who shot at 59. I mean, Joe asked me what kind of a golf course they were playing on, and I couldn't tell him.
Another resort course, Joe.
Yeah, that's what I
no. You know, most of the events on the US tour now, outside of a major, will go to a resort course because they put the money up. And Travelers Insurance put the money up, but they offset some of their costs by going to a resort place. You've got obviously all the players, all the staff are staying on site. Then you've got guests who are coming in and paying exorbitant amounts of money to basically sit in the same breakfast area as Scotty Scheffler or whoever. And the resorts see it as just a massive money spinner. And what the resorts issue is they can't, if it was the Open, like the British Open or the US Open, that golf club has been chosen on merit because of the difficulty of the golf course. And for a whole year, they're prepping that golf course to peak when the US Open or the Open hits down. So the rough is knee high, it's thick. You've got all the things that they've designed and they've sort of planned for happening. The resort can't do that because last week they may have closed the golf course down for 3 or 4 days in preparation to get the course ready.
Yes.
Whereas, for argument's sake, Troon will be shut for a month before the Open. And that the members at the moment are going out on Troon with a piece of plastic AstroTurf and they're playing their golf off AstroTurf, so they're not taking divots. So when the pros arrive, the golf course looks immaculate. You know, it looks like it's just been made ready for them. So now the resorts can't do that because today that resort will be jammed with an event where sponsors are bringing guests in to play after the Travelers event on the same greens, on the same tees as the pros did yesterday, to the same pin placements. So they have to chop the rough down. They can't prep it the same way because if they did, you know, people would be walking back in after 9 holes saying, I've lost, you know, I'm losing 2 balls on every hole because I can't hit the fairway.
I've lost my balls, as they say, and they give up.
So it's like caught between a rock and a hard place. You need the sponsorship money, but you also need the revenue from the resorts who are backing up the sponsorship money. And it's just like so they will shoot 59s, and because the guys are just getting better and better and better, they're getting stronger. You know, we've talked about it hundreds of times on the show.
We did.
They're athletes now. You know, 50 years ago, you know, practice was in the bar or maybe a few putts after your game, but you know, it wasn't go to the gym twice a day.
No.
You know, these guys are warming up in the gym before they go to the practice ground. The practice ground is irrelevant, really. They're just hitting balls just out of routine to basically get their eye in.
And sure, Lowry shot a 62.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you put the best players in the world on a golf course with no rough, with relatively flat greens, all right, the speed will be up there because they have to have them up a certain speed.
Yeah.
With bunkers that aren't bunkers, they're just bunkers that lay on the floor that could be flat as pancakes.
Yeah.
You know the difference when you don't see someone shoot 59 at the Open, do you?
If you did, you'd be calling a doctor, yeah.
Because they've already prepped that golf course. If someone shoots it, knocks it round in 63, they've played out their skin.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the results, the scoring is all skew. If in 100 years' time, some bloke will come out with some stats saying, 1950s, the average player was 2 under par to win a tournament. In the 60s, he was 4 under, 5 under. In the 70s, he was 6 and 7 under. And the 80s and 90s and so on. And eventually it'll be like 2025, 2020, 35, 2020, 50. They're knocking it round in, somebody's, what's the odds on someone going, we've seen them go 62, 62, haven't we?
Yeah.
What's the odds on them going 60, 60 after 2 days?
High.
It's going to happen though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I mean, Scheffler was 22 under, 22 under.
You've got a whole. There's so many factors in this this question, because the equipment. You've got a golf ball that's perfectly round. My old coach Bernard Hunt, Ryder Cup player, 11 times Ryder Cup, 2 Ryder Cup captains.
Yeah.
He used to have brass rings, and he used to put the ball that he was sponsored by Dunlop. He used to put the ball through the ring and see if it went through the ring, because he wanted, in the windy ones, he used to mark them. He used to put W on the ball because it was so small, it was undersized, it went through the brass ring too easy. So that's a good ball for the wind. So he'd put wind on that one, he'd put a W on it.
Yeah.
And if he was playing a golf course like the seaside courses or the links, any links course, or some of the parkland courses around here, like Sunningdale and places like that, where the fairways are really tight, so that it's short grass on the fairways, he'd use the ball that didn't go through the ring because the ball sat up better on the fairway for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, that's not that long ago. That's in the 70s.
Yes.
Now they're playing with golf equipment that basically, it's really hard to hit a ball offline. I know that sounds stupid to club golfers to say that, but it's actually really hard to shape a ball. You'll see extreme shapes, like great big snap hooks and great big slices, but you won't see subtle little fades and little subtle draws anymore because the ball doesn't react off the club the same.
No.
They're basically all hitting it dead straight.
I mean, Lowry finished the tournament at -17, which was an astonishing score as well, and yet he only finished 9th at -17. Shane Lowry, I was talking about, Anyway, Tommy Fleetwood and Matt Fitzpatrick have been picked to represent England at the Olympics. That's no surprise.
No, that was a odds-on bet, wasn't it? I would have thought.
They're the two most consistent of the English players on tour. Tyrrell Hatton won Live Golf over the weekend. Did you see that, Derwynne?
I did watch a bit of that from Nashville, yeah.
Yeah, and the DeChambeau course finished at -12. I was we were off here when they won the PGA at DeChambeau. But I just love watching the man. I just love watching him. There's something about him, And I think he's a popular golfer, and I think it's the way he conducts himself. It's the way his demeanor on the course, And
I mean, he'll sit around for an hour, 2 hours after the round signing autographs for kids.
Yeah.
You've got other players who just get straight in the car park and gone. They're not interested.
I know.
And, DeChambeau gets a lot of grief and he gets a lot of bad press from the tour because he's a live player.
Yeah.
It's like, the whole thing with the tour and live, and it's like, get over it. These guys are earning money somewhere else. They don't mind. The tour don't complain when the Americans come over to play in the Open here, or they come over and play in some of the big events over in Europe. When in fact they've got an event on the US tour. No one moans about not supporting the US tour, do they?
No, they don't. It's dying down a bit now. DeChambeau, to me, is probably one of the best in the world with Scheffler now. The two of them are box office, the Shambo and Scheffler.
Yeah, I mean, it's live. I think live's good for golf. To be honest, if I think it's just mixing it up and giving it a whole different outlook. I know people who've been to live events, and who are dying the wool fans to go to the Open every year and go to the World Match Play, whatever.
Yeah.
And they come back and they go, do you know what? The atmosphere is amazing. Everything's cheap. The food's cheap. Drinks are cheap. The atmosphere with the music and the players, because the players are all contracted to go to certain areas in the practice rounds particularly and sign autographs.
Yeah.
And if they don't do it, they get fined, and they get properly fined too.
Yeah.
So you've got to me there, it's entertaining and it's bringing a whole different angle to golf. Let's face it, all three of us have all walked into golf clubs and felt like we shouldn't be in here because we haven't been made welcome, haven't we?
No, absolutely not.
Admittedly, most of that would be in the UK, where you walk into some golf club and the steward looks at like as though you shouldn't even be here, should you?
Yeah.
Because you're a visitor. And you don't get that so much, Joe, in America, do you? We know that.
No,
it's a different attitude towards that. But
No.
With Live, Live's opening up golf to a whole load of people who would never ever go near a European Tour event or a US Tour event.
Yeah, there's two people I know now who I call would be golf fans. And was it last year when they played? Was it the first tournament that was played in England, London? Was it?
Centurion.
Yes.
Yeah, St. Albans.
They're still talking about it 12 months later.
Yeah.
The experience blew their mind completely of golf, Because myself and my son, we've been at a few Irish Opens where we had top class golfers, but it's not the same. You don't get near the players, You don't, and they don't, except Paulie Harrington, and playing. But anyway, in the live golf, yeah, the Shambo and Ram and Westwood finished -12. Westwood seems to be hitting a bit of form, but anyway, there you go. But you're right. The experience of live golf has brought a whole new generation to golf. There's no doubt about that,
Joe, you'll know from being that side of the water, as you live there. I've lived there and I go there a lot.
Yeah.
But as well as I do, you go around certain resort places and guys are playing music out of their buggies because the buggies are kitted up to have music coming out of them. And as much as I go, I'm not sure about that. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm not sure about that. Maybe I've just become an old fart, but you sit there and kind of go, well, I get it. They're having a lovely day out. They're having a great time. They're spending money and they're enjoying it.
Yeah.
At Sunnydale, I'm sure if your phone goes off at Sunnydale, well, you've got people from 5 fairways away screaming at you.
Yeah.
And, the thought of putting the music on while I'm out playing golf is like, well, I can't imagine ever doing it. But, you sit there, but are they entertainers? Because I think there's an element where Live has brought entertainment into it rather than
it has
a load of golf pros looking the same in the same kind of trousers, the same shirts. The fact they wear shorts and different things like this, and you kind of sit there and just go, what's the big? Why is everybody being so hard to Live? Because all they're doing is, there's a whole section of people now will grow up thinking it's acceptable to wear shorts with short socks rather than look like a Boy Scout up to your knees.
And furthermore, have a bit of Jedro Tull flying out in the music.
Yeah,
mic.
I mean,
why not?
I mean, it's there's definitely a whole different set of people looking at golf now as being something that's fun rather than stuck up.
Now, Derwynne, we have to ask you, is it coming home?
I got a funny feeling. Obviously, they're going to come out of the group.
They are, yeah.
I think I listened to something on the radio today that if they draw and finish second in the group, there's a good likelihood that they'll get Germany in the next knockout.
I would think England would be able to beat Germany.
I got a funny feeling that they'll get out of the group, but they'll be coming home after this next match.
Yeah, they're playing Slovenia tomorrow night, and Denmark are playing Serbia. Even if England lose tomorrow night, I was saying to Joe at the top of the show, even if they lose and the other two teams win, Slovenia and Denmark or Serbia, England will finish third on 4 points, which is the highest rated team to go forward in third place. So they'll still go through, but I wouldn't be thinking that way. I'd be thinking the manager is definitely a huge stumbling block to that team.
I think he gets way too negative. I mean, let's face it. Every time England go 1-0 up, then they may as well park the bus, don't they?
Yeah.
And there's no doubt in my mind. Harry Kane doesn't deserve his place on the team.
Well, what I don't understand is that they go 1-0 up and they're playing a certain style of football that's got them to 1-0 up, and then they decide to revert back to character and just go defence.
True.
And
true.
I think Foden hasn't turned up. I don't think Kane has turned up. I don't think. Take Saka. I think Saka's played. I think Jude Bellingham played for 45 minutes, and that's all he's done so far.
Yeah.
I don't think Foden's played one minute really of a football match. And I just sit there and I think it's really disappointing, because you sit there and kind of go, well, hang on a second, the players England have got, surely you can put 11 out there that can make. I was watching the other night, Holland and France. Yeah.
Shocking game.
It was a terrible game, but they kept going forwards. Both teams kept passing the ball forwards.
Yeah,
there was a point in that last England game when that ball must have got passed along the back four, for what felt like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's sideways. I watched Bellingham make a run, and I'm a mad England fan, but I can't praise them at the moment for anything other than the first 45 minutes in the first game. But Bellingham made a great run, and I think it was Walker had the ball, and it went sideways to the Stones. And you're just like, what is it they're not getting that they do you'd have to say Walker for Man City is an attacking fullback, isn't he?
He is.
Does he look like an attacking fullback when he plays for England?
But Joe, can I ask you, Joe, is that down to the manager and the management team, the tactics of the players on the field, how they play it?
Yeah, it is. Because, you've talked about it in training, you've talked about it in the dressing room before you go out, and it's reinforced to you, that this is what we're going to do. And it's like I said earlier, Derwynne, I cannot understand how a team like England, with the talent that they've got, that a coach or a manager can put the shackles on them and stop them doing what they do so well at their clubs.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, Joe, because you sit there and, like you just said, on paper, you're going to go, well, wow, what a team of players they've got. Even if Conor Gallagher plays, or, Kobe Mainu plays, or whatever, I'm sitting there the other day, and you've got 5 Live talking over here, BBC, talking about the fact that he's taken Shaw, and Ten Hag is already said before they even left for Germany that his fitness, he hasn't played football for 5 months.
No.
And his injury, he might get a game in the semi-final. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, sure, why are they taking him if they might get one game out of him in a semi-final or a final? Yet they've got to get to that stage first. And surely would have been someone who would have played in that first team every day, wouldn't he?
I'm just wondering, I don't want to be cruel to any human being, but is Southgate a fool?
The thing is, I don't think he's a fool. I just think he has a conservative way of approaching the game that he just does not. He's not a big risk taker. They play percentages, and if they can go a goal up and hold on to it, then he's happy with it. He's not like Sir Alex Ferguson saying, "Well, you know what? I'd rather win 4-3 than 1-0."
Yeah.
So and
Yeah.
then you've got to, and as we were talking about it earlier, Derwynne. I mean, as you go deeper into this tournament, if you're fortunate enough to do it, then obviously you're coming up against the better teams. So if you've shackled your team for the whole tournament, and then you're expecting them to all of a sudden break down the best teams in Europe, then that is a very, very, very strong ask for them to do that. Throw everything
Yes.
out the window, and then come out firing and blazing when they haven't been doing it.
No.
So
I mean,
it's just sorry,
even against Denmark. I mean, what team on that match looked more likely to win? And that was Denmark.
yes,
Yeah.
it is.
And you sit there, and I look at tomorrow's game, and I kind of go, well, it wouldn't surprise me if they did lose, because I don't think they've got any other option other than to try and score a goal. And let's face it, the goal against Denmark wasn't exactly created, was it? It kind of came loose and came to Harry Kane, who happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Did they score from Walker's cross on that one?
Well, Walker crossed it in, but it got like a bit pinball wizard between a Denmark player and I think it was Foden.
Yeah.
It was bouncing around, and it kind of just came out a little bit like the ball comes out of a scrum, a bit sideways sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it fell to Harry Kane. It's probably, it was the last time he was in the box, I think. And you sit there and kind of just go, oh, I don't know. I mean, he comes. There's so many question marks and things I don't get. He comes deeper and deeper and deeper. He has got no pace, so it's not like he can run and get himself back up the front, can he?
No.
When
you look at, as Joe and myself were talking about at the top of the show, Derwynne, when you look at teams like Spain and Portugal, I don't think England would have a prayer against them.
No, they'd get hammered. They'd get wiped out. Joe, you're a professional footballer, right? What's the one thing that scares defenders?
People going at them all the time.
Speed, isn't it?
Yeah, speed. And that's the point I'm making. You asked the question earlier about Kyle Walker being an attacking fullback from Manchester City, right? Kyle Walker took a gamble on the pass that was played forward in the build-up to the goal. And the defender didn't think he was going to go for it. So the defender eased up a little bit, and Kyle Walker went past him and got the ball and went through and got the crossing. Whatever happened afterwards, that's why you put the ball in the box, right? But if Kyle Walker doesn't make that run, because he does that for Man City every single week he plays, if he doesn't make that run, then England don't win that game probably. So here we have a classic of a guy that can get forward, can get crosses in, has an engine that can get up and down the field all day long, is fast, is strong, and he's been told not to get forward.
Yeah.
I look in the tournament, would love to have someone like that.
You look at Ezra, is it Ezra, the Crystal Palace winger?
Oh, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah. Why is he not why isn't he on the pitch and being told just run that defender into the ground?
Yeah.
He can. He's faster than Walker.
Yeah, but I mean,
And
you ask the same
it's
question.
not as
If
if
he's not going to play Eze in the game, then why did he leave Jack Grealish behind?
yeah,
Jack Grealish has proven that he is of great value. He can hold the ball up. He can take people on. He can get crosses in. He can score goals. And for whatever reason, Gareth Southgate said that, well, you know, he hasn't done this or he hasn't done that. He hasn't done that. But it's while he's sitting on the bench,
yeah.
Jack Grealish may as well be sitting there because he's not doing anything.
I mean,
True.
Grealish would. How many free kicks would Grealish win
anything.
you in 90 minutes? He could easily
I'm sorry?
win you six. He could easily win. Grealish could win you 6 free kicks, couldn't he? In 90
Yes.
minutes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Whether he all goes up, we know they all go over. Different from your day where you wanted to stay on your feet, they just get a bit of a bump and they go sideways and then they fall over, like
Yeah.
Weevils. But you sit there and as a mad England fan, you sit there and just go, you know, they're playing Slovenia, aren't they?
Yeah.
And I'm a mad England fan from Wembley, and I'm not 100% sure they can beat them. And it's like, come on, give me a break, will you? I mean, do you think Portugal fans are doing the same thing, or Spanish or German fans, even the French fans? They're not thinking like that. They're thinking this is like a 4-0 coming. And
Yeah.
But you made the point there about Portugal win the game in what, the last couple of minutes?
Yeah.
They were a goal down for the longest time. And then all of a sudden they have one disallowed and then they go and score 2 more. And I can't imagine England playing such loose and playing with such abandon to keep going for the result, because they don't play quick enough. They don't have the speed of play that they need, in my opinion.
No,
Well, of
Joe.
the top teams, before we finish in the Euros that I've seen up to now, the 3 poorest teams I've seen in the competition have been France, Germany, and England. I mean, I think they've been very poor myself, the 3 of them.
Well, I think I'm going to be really sort of controversial now. I'm going to throw Scotland in that.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, Scotland.
Scotland had 3 shots on target in 3 games.
For the Scottish team, the Scottish team to qualify for the Euros was a huge deal for Scotland. When you see where they're ranked in the world, number 1, number 2, they were absolutely denied a stone cold penalty in the match. They were just denied a stone cold penalty. I'm not saying that would have got them through to the next round, which would have been an incredible achievement, but it's all ifs and buts. But I think that's a scandal that penalty wasn't given, you know?
I mean, I just think from watching nearly all the games I've watched,
yeah,
you know, you sit there and I kind of go, well, France look like they've got goals in them. Germany got goals in them. Spain look like they can score. Italy, not sure about. And Portugal, again, I put Portugal as they can score goals. Obviously, they got too many good players in there not to score goals. But then you sit there and go, I've just said Portugal got too many good players not to score goals. England must be on a par with the level of player. Yet, as an England fan, I'm not even sure they can score goals. Because they don't look like they're trying to score goals. They look like they get a goal, whether that's an own goal or whatever, and now we just park the bus and wait for the whistle to go at 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I must say, I mean, I wish them well. I mean, for the players, you know, and I think that I think they'll win tomorrow night against Slovenia. I think they'll top their group, and hopefully, I don't know. I mean, Southgate should have got the sack after the last Euros, but that's water under the bridge. You know, that's my opinion. I mean, he's not progressing the team, you know, with some of the players he has, you know.
The question I'd love to ask, and Joe, you've probably got the answer to this question with your background. Surely the players must sit down at some stage and go, like, we're too good not to be scoring goals here, boss. Surely, aren't we allowed to attack them? And I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a bit of controversial. I don't know, but I would have thought Bellingham playing for Real Madrid. I can't believe he's told to go out there and just pass it sideways all day.
No,
or pass it back to Pickford.
Yeah,
and Trippier to me looks like a fish out of water. He doesn't look right at all. I thought Stones has done well, and I thought Gaia, whatever his name is, he's done really well. Out of all the issues that we had going to Germany, it was all the talk about centre backs not being up to scratch, when in fact, in reality, they've probably been players of the match really for the England team. They've been the better players.
They have. There's no doubt about that.
What changed between that first 45 minutes where, let's face it, you would have been sitting there going, wow, look at this. How good's this? What changed to the second half? And then what changed in the last 90 minutes against Denmark? Because Bellingham doesn't look like the same player from the first 45 minutes in this tournament. For the lads who'll be looking into this later on tonight, in a word, who's going to win it now halfway through the tournament? Who do you fancy, Joe?
I was just going to say there a minute ago, I've watched Portugal in this tournament, and as well as Portugal have played, Bruno Fernandes has not been at his best. No, he keeps doing what he does, and he's trying to make his killer passes and make things. That's going to come good for him at some point. Things are going to turn around for him at some point, and Cristiano is going to start scoring goals. Yeah. So I think Portugal have, as I looked at it, and like I said before, look at their bench. They can bring 3-4 guys off that bench, and they are absolutely dynamite. But the thing that we didn't talk about is Belgium.
Oh, I forgot about them, yeah.
With all the talent that team has got, and they've been terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Belgium. They're in Group E, and I think that there are 4 teams with 3 points. The first time ever it has happened in the European Championship. In Belgium's group, 4 teams going into the last match have 3 points each. So,
I think Spain have been very quietly going about their business.
They're a good team. I fancy Spain. I backed them myself.
I think Spain could be a little bit of a dark horse there.
Okay, guys. Next Monday night we'll be either eulogizing England or hopefully it'll be eulogizing. We won't say any more than that. But we wish them all the very best for.
Which part of the world are you going to be in, Pat? What part of the world are you going to be in next week? What part of the world are you going to be?
We'll still be in the same place if they don't throw us out, We're trying to do the best we can with French. I mean, I don't know about people who eat frogs and snails, but they're very friendly people anyway, and the food is good, And sometimes I don't like to be told what I'm eating once there's plenty of sauce, and it does me fine.
Right. Those escargots will be good for you.
From Derwynne, from Joe, and from myself, lads, till we meet again next Monday night. Take care and good sporting. Au revoir.
Au revoir, Pat. Au revoir.
Au revoir.